So Tokyo Revengers is finally finished. It's finally done. Thank God. But yeah, chapter 278. It was released a day ago, I want to say. 2 days ago on Tuesday. And yeah, I mean after chapter 277, um it was garbage. The last two chapters are horrible. Really, really bad. Tokyo Revengers has one of the biggest downfalls, if not the biggest downfall, in manga. And honestly, it's sad to say. How a once really fun, interesting, entertaining story ends in the most bland, boring, pathetic, out of nowhere endings in manga. Chapter 277 was so bad that when the chapter came out, Tokyo Revengers was trending on Twitter. And even the mangaka, Ken Wakui, was also trending. And it was just full of people making fun of the ending, calling it garbage, saying it's one of the biggest downfalls in manga, the biggest downfall in manga, people comparing it to Attack on Titan, and people were comparing Ken Wakui to Isayama. So all around, the entire manga community just came together and agreed that it was a garbage ending, and it is. Chapter 277 was the most Disney-esque, non-Disney thing I've ever seen or read in my life. Chapter 277 was literally Disney Channel. It was Disney XD. It was Disney Plus. That's how bad that chapter was. But I mean, to an extent, it wasn't really surprising, I would say, for me and for many others as well. Because Tokyo Revengers objectively has been bad for the past 100 chapters, 75 chapters. This entire final arc was really bad. Tokyo Revengers has been going downhill for a long time. And depending on who you ask, people have been saying it's been going downhill since way before that. And we'll get into that later. But from now on, in the anime community, in the manga community, whenever someone says this is a Disney ending, they better be talking about Tokyo Revengers. From now on, the only time I ever want to hear Disney ending is when they're talking about Tokyo Revengers. This ending was the most boring, most bland, most out of left field thing I've ever seen or read. My reaction to reading 277 was the skull emoji. That was literally my reaction to reading that chapter. Where somehow, someway, both Takemichi and Mikey time leap, and then in this new timeline, they completely change everything. And at first you're like, okay, they both time leaped, whatever's right. And then it takes the most left turn ever, where they're bringing the gang back together, and then out of nowhere, they literally bring everybody. Like, they bring Kisaki into the gang, and when I saw that, I swear to God, I heard the gasp from everybody seeing that panel. The best villain of the entire story. And then they make him one of their friends? And not only him, they do it for every single villain, every single character, every single enemy, bad guy, nemesis. They bring them into the group as their friends, their homies, and it's Disney. It's Disney. Like, why? It's so bad. It literally took away all the stakes, all the consequences, all the amazing character moments. It took that away, and all of a sudden we begin brand new. And it was just like, why? Like, what was Ken Wakui thinking? Well, I mean, he wasn't thinking, because this is bad. And this chapter led into the last chapter, where we see Takemichi's wedding with Hina, and everyone's there. I want to say everybody. I mean, literally everybody. Kisaki and all the other bad guys. They're all there, like best friends. And it feels like Ken Wakui thought for some reason that we were just gonna accept it. Like, just naturally, we were gonna see Kisaki and all the other guys hanging out with Takemichi, and we were just gonna accept it like, oh yeah, they're buddies. Like, dude, no, that just doesn't happen. And there's a reason why endings like this are hated. And seeing these last two chapters has shown everybody that this manga, this story, it should have ended a long time ago. A very long time ago. When Kisaki died. When Takemichi and Hina were originally gonna get married. Because that ending, compared to this one, there's literally no comparison. I don't understand the logic of Ken Wakui extending the manga for one final arc after what could have been a very fine conclusion to his manga. Because Kisaki, the main villain, the guy who throughout the story has been terrorizing Takemichi, killing Hina over and over again, the guy who's been thwarting Takemichi's plans, he's now gone. And Takemichi would get his happy ending. But Ken Wakui said, no, we're gonna do one last arc. And Mikey, is gonna be the bad guy. And that's when the manga went downhill. And it went downhill fast. It was a steep decline. This entire last arc was insufferable and bad from every angle. The characters. Takemichi was, for a character that was like heavily criticized for being a crybaby, Takemichi became a very stupid character. The entire premise of this final arc was that Mikey has gone rogue, and Takemichi is gonna save him because he feels like he has a duty to. But it was done because he didn't need to do it. Like, he already had his happy ending. He already completed his mission, right? But now he's gonna risk this amazing future to save him. The guy who in the arc before, in the future, killed everybody. The guy who was irredeemable. And yes, he's still irredeemable. Him going back in time with Takemichi and just expecting all of us to forget about what he did, this entire final arc, crazy. Because Mikey became very unlikable. I think I speak for like 99% of us when I say that nobody wanted to see Mikey being the bad guy, being the final villain. This final arc, excluding the ending, had some of the worst moments in the entire story. The entire thing about Mikey permanently scarring, what's his name, Sanzu? Why? Like, stuff like that, when you read that, when you see that, all you're left with saying is, why? And then the reveal of why he did that was because of a curse, due to the time leaping that his brother was doing. That whole darkness with Mikey was so goofy and unbelievable in a funny way, where in a story that has time travel and 12-year-old 13-year-old kids creating and leading these 500 1,000 member gangs and fighting to the death, in a world that has all that, in a story that has all that, this whole darkness thing was the most dumbest thing ever, and it took you out of it. It just took you out of it. It felt dumb. It looked dumb. It looked like it was straight out of Berserk, with Guts and the whole beast, where it just like takes over him. That's how it felt like. But the difference is with like Berserk is that in that story there was a setup to it, right? There was a lead up that took us to that new character trait, that new aspect, and it was done really, really well. But in Tokyo Revengers, it came out of left field and it looked really dumb, where it took itself so seriously. It like manifests around Mikey. It's apparently a real thing. It's a curse. And the reveal, the backstory for it, it was just dumb. The one good thing about this final arc was the whole backstory and reveal of the first time leaper, and that being Mikey's brother. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie, I kind of liked it. I thought it was fairly good. I mean, compared to everything else in that final arc, it was miles better than anything else. But the flow, the narrative of this entire ending was so bad that after that crazy reveal, the reveal of the entire story, right? The backstory. Right after we get that, the manga quickly ends. And that just can't happen. The whole time leaping reveal, like that what was holding the entire story together. How time leaping works. What was the first timeline? Who was the first time leaper? You can reveal that stuff in the final chapters of a manga. And if you do, you gotta give it some time to let it flow. Let the story breathe. But Wakui didn't. Right after that, he quickly ended the story. And as we see now, everyone is calling it a rushed ending, a bad ending, a horrible ending. You just can't do that from a writing perspective. It just doesn't work. But yeah, I know this video is supposed to be about the last two chapters of Tokyo Revengers. But to me, like I said in the beginning, Tokyo Revengers has been bad for a very long time. And the problems with Tokyo Revengers didn't start with the last two chapters. They started a long time ago, with the beginning of this first arc. And depending on who you ask, someone say the downfall started before that. With the whole Kasaki loving Hina reveal. That was bad, right? We can all agree that was bad. But think about it. If the story ended right there, or like a few chapters later, with Takemichi marrying Hina, we would have been saying, okay, cool, Tokyo Revengers, it's done. The only really bad thing was the whole Kisaki reveal, his motivations, right? But other than that, the ending was really good. At the most, it would have been great, right? The story would have had consequences, right? It would have had meaning. The characters and their actions, their journeys, right? Not just Takemichi, but Draken, Mikey, Hanma, Kisaki, and everyone else. Their journeys would have had meaning, and Takemichi would have lived happily. And this could have been an ending that for a manga was, kind of brutal, serious, consequential, where Kisaki's dead, but the journey, the goal, Takemichi's goal, has been completed, and it would have been a very good ending to a really fun, again, entertaining, and interesting manga. But instead we get this Disney ending where it's just cringe. Like, look at these pages. They're all like celebrating, having fun. They're all homies. They're all friends. It's just so unnatural. And then in the next chapter, the last chapter, it just gets worse. We're now getting their occupations, what they're doing, and it's just weird. I don't know how Takemichi as a character can, live with being friends with all these people. And that's what I'm saying when it feels like there's no consequences. There is no meaning to these characters. No matter what they said or did, at the end, they're all friends. Mikey, the guy who literally wanted to kill Takemichi, who literally at one point in a, separate timeline, literally killed everybody. And Takemichi wants to be friends with that guy? He wants to save that guy? The guy who just shot him. That's how this entire arc started. Mikey shot Takemichi. And Takemichi was like, nah, you know what? I'm gonna save you. It's just, it's just goofy. It's like little kid shit. It's Disney. We're supposed to believe that all these characters who literally like fight each other to the death, now they're like best buddies? Nah. And when you read the ending and see how like rushed it is, how dumb it is, how it makes no sense, it gives you the feeling that Ken Wakui had no idea what he was doing. Like, he had no plan on how to end it. Like, he was just writing with his eyes closed. That's how it feels. But apparently it's been revealed, or apparently Ken Wakui came out and said that this ending has been planned for a long time, since the Bloody Halloween arc. Look, I don't know whether to believe him, because to me it's just unfathomable how you can plan for an ending since, I don't know, like, what, 2017, 2018? And you made one of the worst endings in manga. Like, how is that possible that you planned for this ending? Like, did no one care about the writing? Did the editor not care? Did no one care? Did Kodansha even care? Or did they even know that this was the ending that they were going with for a very long time? The only way that makes sense is if Ken Wakui literally intended for this ending to be that bad. Like, he went out of his way to make the most god-awful ending ever. That's the only thing that makes sense. Because ain't no way. But contrary to what he says, I have my own theory with obviously no evidence, right? Like, I don't know the inner workings with Ken Wakui, Kodansha, and his editor. But here's my theory, and here's what I think happened. I'm probably incredibly stupidly wrong. I probably am, but I need to get it out there. So as some of you know, Tokyo Revengers sells a lot. Like, the sales numbers for Tokyo Revengers is incredibly high. It's always top 10, top 5 in sales. This is a very popular manga that makes a lot of money. So here's what I think happened. I think, and it could have been around when Kasaki dies, or afterwards, I don't know. I think Kodansha approached Ken Wakui and his editor, or Kodansha and the editor approached Ken Wakui. And they said, look, your manga, Tokyo Revengers, it's making us a lot of money. On top of that, there's an anime coming up. It's gonna get, or it's even more popular than it already was. So we're gonna need you, Ken Wakui, to continue Tokyo Revengers. Do one more arc. Do not end it anytime soon. Because this property is a cash maker, and extending it is gonna make us even more money. And that's what I think happened. That is literally what I think happened. And Ken Wakui, like, I don't know how it works, but he was like, well, damn, now I guess I gotta write one more arc. When he could have had the ending in mind, which was, Kasaki dying, and then Takemichi marrying Hina. But now he has to write 75 more chapters, or 100 more chapters. I forgot how long the arc was. And what you get from that is what we got. A horrible last arc, one of the worst endings in manga, reveals and character writing that makes no sense, a flow and pacing that's all over the place. And I think that's what happened. I really do. And to me it would make sense because there's already a spin-off manga of Tokyo Revengers, with more spin-offs or continuations announced already. The property of Tokyo Revengers makes money. And Kodansha, for how dumb they are with writing some of the worst endings, some of the worst mangas ever, they're smart when it comes to making money. They're not dumb, right? Like, they're a business. They're supposed to make money. But it's unfortunate in this case that, again, maybe I'm speculating. I don't know anything. But if I'm correct, it sucks that led to this poor ending. And I want to end it with this segment. What's worse, this ending or the ending of Attack on Titan? To me personally, I think the ending of Attack on Titan is way worse. Like, they're not even close. I think the ending of Attack on Titan is the worst ending in, like, history. Whether it be books, movies, TVs, manga, anything, right? The ending of Attack on Titan is the worst ending in fiction. But another reason I would say the ending of Attack on Titan is worse is because AOT had a higher ceiling than Tokyo Revengers. Attack on Titan was a story that I and many others thought was the greatest story in all of literature. That's how highly AOT was viewed. Whereas Tokyo Revengers, at the most, it was, just great. I thought it was really good. I had a lot of fun with it. I loved it. I read the manga because of the anime. The anime was so fun, so entertaining that I was like, damn, I want to read the manga. So here I am now. But yeah, to compare Tokyo Revengers and AOT before their endings, AOT obviously is a way better story. It had a way higher ceiling than TR. So that's why I say AOT had a worse ending than Tokyo Revengers. Because that drop off, that downfall, was even harder than this one. But yeah, it sucks. A manga that could have ended when Takemichi and Hina originally were supposed to get married. If it ended there, we would have talked about it as a really fun manga, a great manga, one of the best new gens, with an anime currently out. But unfortunately, it ended like this. And now the anime season 2, I just can't really get excited for it. This could have easily ended a long time ago. That's what blows my mind. Like, it could have easily ended. Very good, at the most, a great manga. But there were other plans. And you know what? Oh well. It's unfortunate. But yeah, everybody, what are your thoughts on the ending of Tokyo Revengers? Is it the worst ending in manga? What went wrong? What was Ken Wakui thinking? And just why? Give me your thoughts. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, be sure to like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it, and it would help me out a lot. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.